Hi there, if you want to learn how to create sound effects, then you are in the right place. In this video, I want to show you my process for creating these heavy-hitting metal impact sounds. All right, so here we are inside of Reaper, and actually before we get into this, the first thing that you're going to want to do is actually to record some metal sounds. Now, I'm not going to go deep into details about like how to record or what to record. If you want to see a video about that, I can put one in the cards above just so you have some reference to how to do it or how I do it anyways. And but yeah, there's nothing complicated or complex here. I just went around my house. I grabbed some metallic things like knives, blades, any kind of metallic bars, even some shelves that I had that were metal. And I just, it did some hits and that's it. It was pretty basic, pretty simple, which is why I'm kind of quickly going over this step. But that is the first step that you want to do. Once you have that, the next thing that I did here is I loaded NVK Create. And what I did is I just searched through all my folders that I recorded where I recorded these raw sounds. And so I labeled them as hit. A lot of them have hit in the name here. And you can see here, I'm doing basically no offsets. I want all the transients to be pretty much on top of each other. I want them all layered very closely. Pitch 12 it's not too big of a deal what you put in here for now. I usually like to keep it pretty subtle, so 12 for me. Length here again doesn't matter too much because you want to get as many sound files as possible. And then here you have, it's going to pick 5 layers, right? So 20 sounds. So here we go. So I have 20 different variations. I think I deleted some, so actually I have only 10 or something like that. Anyways, but with five layers each. So if I listen to some of these here, right, these are very raw sounds. All I did really in terms of processing is I normalized the sounds. That's it. And then I basically take the best takes that I have and I keep them like that, right? I try to get as clean of a sound as I can in my recordings here. Right, so this actually was not metal. It was a brick board thing that I had. There's a spatula on a metal rod, right? A KitchenAid attachment from a stand mixer. Another shelf. This one is obviously pitched down a little bit, right? But then you have it together. Okay, so you have these sounds, and all I did here is put a bit of a limiter, and I boosted up the gain a bit, just so it's kind of bringing up the sound a little bit here, right? And that's it. So if we listen to some of these here, you're going to notice not everything here is going to be usable, but that's okay. Right, so not everything is usable. So what I would do in this situation, if I was doing here, is I would choose the best ones that I really liked here. So maybe like these here. I really like that first one. Maybe this one. Right, and then I would export these, and then I would put them into a new folder. And this would be like a design folder where I've already layered it once. Right, so just so I can keep track of what are my raw sounds, and then what are the sounds that I've already layered together to create a new sound out of them. Right, so they still sound very organic and very good. So with that, that's kind of my first step. Now I have I'll go through this process many times until I have hundreds of sounds, and then I'll go to my next step, which is right here. All right, so for step 2 here, I do the exact same thing, except this time I run NVK Create, similar settings as I had before, except now I'm choosing, instead of choosing the raw recording files, now I'm choosing all of my layered files, right? And now, let me kind of play you through what I have, and then I'll go through the effects change so you can kind of see how I'm processing them to get these sounds here. Right, so those are the sounds I'm getting, and I'm really happy with those. They're really hard hitting, they're punchy, and that's exactly what I want. So let's go over to see how exactly I created these here. All right, so the first thing I did here to start off is, again, just a limiter to boost up the sound. Right, it just brings out the tail quite a lot. After that, once I do that though, then I tone it down. I tone down the tail here with a transient shaper, so I bring down the sustain here. So before... After that, I have here shaper table. And then this is where I add a bit of the punch here, which is enforcer. Right, so I'm using the cloth mat smack preset. Another option that you can do if you don't want to use enforcer, if you don't have enforcer, is you can layer it with some kick samples or design kick or impact samples. I did do a video about that. If you want to check it out, I'll have it in the cards above. But yeah, if you have some kick samples or some impact samples or crunchy samples or just some hard hitting transient samples, this is where you want to layer it. Maybe it would be its own layer underneath here if you don't have an enforcer. So right now I'm just using enforcer because it was just a quick way to add it in. After that, I'm using BX Substance to beef it up even more here. So without these two, and with it. Right after that, I like to use some sort of stereo widener to bring in the width. So I actually don't want to make it wider. I actually want to make it narrower. So that's what I'm doing here. Usually I use recenter. I'm kind of testing out Stereolab right now, but bringing in the width here a little bit. It makes it feel a little bit more punchy to my ears, just because everything is so is coming in together towards the center. Right after that, if you want, you can add another shaper table here just to add a bit more grit. Kind of just depends on the flavor that you're going for here, and then another transient, another limiter here just to make sure that we're not peaking. That is the effects chain that I have here for these. Right, another thing you can do for these is if you ever have a sound here that is way too long, what sometimes I'll like to do here is I'll bring these in like this. Just control the tails a lot, just so they're a lot punchier. So actually, I like this tail here. That's not the one I want to control. Really, it was this one here. So I actually had this like this before. So instead of like scrapping this sound as one that's not usable, I can just bring in this tail here. Still have it punchy here with this. Right, and still layering it with this sound. So that's how I did that here. Another little thing you can do here is, let's say you have a sound here like this that is not a clean start right at the transient, right? But you really do want it. So what I can do is I can go here, and what I have here is a preset where it's going to trim everything to the left edge, right? So then you can have that clean hit. And if you want to see what I'm using for that here, I am using, so in your actions list here, I am using the trim, untrim, item, left edge to edit cursor. So that is the action key that I'm using for that. Again, you have a scrape in there that I don't like. So what I'm going to do here, again, same thing as before. I'm just going to bring it in here like that. There you go. Now you have a new hit that is very usable. Now, another little tip here, another thing that I do to get more out of my sounds is I have this little preset where I can change the play rate of the samples that are selected. If you don't have that, because it's something I created myself, so I don't know if it's available on some sort of in the RIA pack or something like that. Maybe somebody can mention it in the comments if they do. But another quick tip here is that you can just go down here to the play rate and bring the play rate down, and then when you play it, right, you have this lower impact sound, which might be more of the flavor that you're going for. If not, maybe you want higher. Right, it just depends what you're going for. Sometimes I personally like to just do it manually like this. I think it's even better to just use the play rate down here like that. All right, so that's it. It's a pretty short video, but hopefully you found it useful and valuable, and just kind of seeing the process that I took to go from like raw recorded metal sounds to layering them together to processing them to get these really hard-hitting, impactful sounds. And of course, once you have that, you can layer it with pretty much anything to create new impact sounds, new crunchy slashes and stuff like that. So a lot of fun. Anyways, if you have any comments, questions, leave it down below. And if you want to see another video where I do a redesign where I actually use some of these impact sounds, I made a redesign with from the video game Stellar Blade. So I'll have that on the screen if you're interested in seeing that. And if not, thanks so much for watching all the way to the end. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.